How's it going, everyone? I hope that is true. I hope you do all read Elite Daily. And if not, you'll learn a little bit about it today. So firstly, thank you, Tech Open Air. Thank you, Berlin. The food and the beer has been amazing so far. And today I'm going to be speaking about engaging the millennial audience. So there's two reasons why I'm going to be speaking about this today, or at least two reasons why I feel qualified to speak about this. One being I'm 25, so I am a millennial. And two, being I work for Elite Daily, which is the leading digital media platform for millennials, generating about 74 million unique visitors a month globally. So before I get into the mystery of millennials and all the things that publishers and digital media get wrong about millennials, I do want to give you a brief history on how Elite Daily started and became the millennial powerhouse that it is today. So, started from the bottom. That's a Drake reference, if you're familiar. But Elite Daily did start from the bottom. In 2012, in an apartment in New York City, the two co-founders were college students at the time, and they saw a problem with the internet. And that problem was there was no single online destination where they felt they could go to consume all the different types of content that they were interested in. So content ranging from sports to entertainment to breaking news to personal essays. On top of that, there was no single place that was truly millennial focused, written in a voice and a tone that they felt they could relate to and trust. So when the first iteration of the site appeared online, there were no developers or designers, so it was not the prettiest website you've seen. They were able to get some friends of some friends together. They had 6 employees total. I'm pretty sure it was even unpaid at the time. And monthly traffic was under 50,000 unique visitors a month. So that was 3 years ago. And today we are here. So Elite Daily now generates 74 million unique monthly visitors globally. We have over 3,000 contributing writers from around the world that contribute to the site. We have over 90 employees on staff in our New York City looks like an apartment, our New York City office. And earlier this year, we were acquired by Daily Mail's parent company. So if you take a quick look at this graph behind me, this is the ComScore percent composition of millennial readerships per website. So as you can see, Elite Daily is ranked #1 when it comes to the amount of overall audience actually being millennials, so being readers within this 18 to 34 age range. And as you can see, we beat out competitors like Vice, BuzzFeed, New York Times, Wall Street Journal by a large margin. So, millennials. How many people here are millennials, 18 to 34? Not to call out all the old people who aren't raising their hands, but a good amount. So this term millennial is thrown around so often in so many different contexts these days. I can say the #1 thing that I've learned from both being a millennial myself and understanding them as an audience is that millennials cannot be grouped in one bucket or under one umbrella. And the biggest mistake that digital media or publishers or even brands can make is not realizing the diversity that exists within the millennial mass market. So there's no one type of content that's necessarily going to click with millennials, but there's certainly approaches to content development and distribution that will click with millennial reading habits. So some points on millennials when it comes to them being consumers and being readers. Millennials will always trust their peers more than they're going to trust brands. Millennials want content that they can consume rapidly and on the go, preferably on their mobile phones. And we don't just want to be given the news, or we don't just want to be told, use this product, use this service. We want to receive that information in a way that we can engage with it, own it, and share it. So when Elite Daily did start, the founders and those 6 unpaid employees had no experience in digital media, no experience in journalism whatsoever. What they knew as millennials is that they wanted content that, if informational, it gave the essential facts in a way that was easy to digest. When it came to original storytelling, they wanted stories and advice from a voice that was much like their own, casual, honest, derived from experience. And when it came to technical formats, they wanted a platform that wasn't afraid to evolve and experiment, even if that meant failing, just to learn in the process. So despite the diversity within the generation, those are some points that we found to be consistent within the generation when it comes to reading habits and millennial consumption. So go narrow to go wide. This is a weird term, but like I said before, the biggest mistake that brands or publishers can make is trying to put millennials under one umbrella, throw them in the same bucket, not realize the diversity. So the way that we avoid this at Elite Daily is an approach that we call go narrow to go wide. So a lot of publishers think that they need to broaden their content and broaden their approach to capture millennials, when in fact we found the opposite to be true. And we found that by narrowing our focus, engagement has actually been higher. So an example of this is targeting specific people or subsets of people, because millennials are not interested when media is talking about them as a whole in a collective group, but they will start to listen if you're able to tap into those key identifying factors, descriptions, characteristics, things that they feel they can identify with on a personal level. So with this approach, I'll give you a quick example actually. Articles that focus specifically on, say, people who wear glasses. I see a lot of people wearing glasses here. Or people who identify with staying up late at night. That actually sparks a lot more engagement than broad content such as why all millennials need to fill in the blank with pretty much anything, or why every girl in their 20s has to, again, fill in the blank. And the key to understanding millennial engagement is understanding why millennials read content, consume content, and share it in the first place. So we've identified 3 key elements of engagement that's kind of the guideline at Elite Daily, and that is informational, identifying, and emotional. So informational, identifying, and emotional. So informational content is content that when read, the reader learns something new in a way that was easy to digest and consume. This reader, in turn, is going to be more inclined to share this content because they understand that their peer network, whether it be texting someone an article, sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, they're confident that their peers will get the same information that they got in the same way, easy to consume, digestible, and this is the groundwork for really starting conversations about issues and about topics. The second type is identifying. So like I spoke about, people with glasses, specific characteristics, things that people identify with on a personal level, or content that makes a very clear opinion on a certain issue or article. By sharing this type of content, the reader understands that their peers are going to quickly be able to understand how they identify as a person or what their stance on a particular topic is because of the content that they're sharing. And none of us could really lie. It takes a lot for us to read an article. A lot of times you see the headline, the picture, and pretty much understand what it's about. The third type is emotional. So emotional content evokes a very particular emotion. So this could be a funny video of a baby dancing or a cat video, or it can be a heart-wrenching personal narrative. The reader is inclined to share this because they understand that their peers will feel that same emotion or some version of it, again, sparking conversation about a particular article, topic, or issue. So before I head out, I want to give you guys some examples of this go narrow to go wide approach. So if you can see this screen, it says the packaging is as important as the content, being first is not being best. So on the left, under their approach, this is an example of an article earlier in the year that pretty much ended up on every site. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that he wore the same t-shirt every day, which kind of shocked the world. Every site covered it with a very similar headline, giving the facts, the Mark Zuckerberg quote. So we took that a step further and turned it into more of an identifying piece of content. Our title reads, "The Science of Simplicity, Why Successful People Wear the Same Thing Every Day." So the foundation of this article was the same as all the other articles out there. We used Mark Zuckerberg's quote. We found that Steve Jobs had the same approach. A lot of other successful people who want to make less decisions in their life, so they stick with one outfit. So the total shares on the Elite Daily piece, I'm sure it's higher now, but at the time, 364,000. So that's not page views, that's shares across social media, compared to, I won't say what publication that is, but they only had 206,000 page views. So it's a lot more shares than even page views, and other sites were similar. Another example, night owls and early risers have different brain structures. So this was a study that came out. Again, you could see it across the web, across different sites. Similar headlines, just really stating the main facts of the study. Our approach to this was intelligent people all have one thing in common. They stay up later than you. Again, this is a much more personal approach to a piece. Pulls in that identifying element of content where people will be more inclined to share this with their friends that they know stay up late at night. How many of you stay up late at night? Sure, most of us in the creative world. So this is a piece that, again, 2 million shares for us. Again, that's just social shares, not page views, and didn't come close on other sites. So that's just a brief example of understanding that millennials are not the same. We've been under the microscope for so long as this generation that's entitled, lazy, but no, wait, they're changing the world. So many different approaches, and media's always bucketing us. But we found, again, that narrowing a focus, reaching people on an individual level is really what's going to spark engagement. And that's across digital media, that's across brands and products as well. So that's everything that I've got. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, that was an awesome talk, and I've definitely learned a lot about writing content from that. Does anybody out there have any questions? Right, okay, I'm going to ask you a question then. What is the most successful article in Elite Daily history? If you know.
Yeah, the Night Owl one that I just showed, that was 2 million shares. That's definitely one of them. We've had a few articles that have reached 2 million shares, and that's pretty much top tier for us. Not even sure what that equates to in page views, but you know, definitely approaching 10 million or more.
Okay. And just the next question would be, what's next for Elite Daily? Like, where do you go with sort of Daily Mail backing and all that kind of stuff?
Right. So the thing to remember is Elite Daily is only 3 years old. We were lucky enough to get acquired earlier this year, but this is really the first time that we've had the backing and the resources to do things that we've never done before. So what's going to be big for us in the future is original reporting and breaking news, hopefully expanding across the country, maybe globally, and also tackling long form. Something that we've realized is as our generation is kind of getting older and more mature, they're interested in engaging with longer form content, personal narratives, things that maybe they felt they didn't have time for earlier in life.
Thanks very much. Greg?